Right, hi everyone. Well, I define myself as an experienced designer. Experienced designer meaning it controls the environment and lots of things that interaction design speaks about, but a little bit further. The first project I want to show is a project I did for my final project for my BA in Israel. I had a band called 51%. It was a hip-hop alternative band, and in Israel hip-hop is not that big, not like in London. And we had a hard time to get the crowd, to get people in to the concerts, and we really wanted to make it more theatrical, more intelligent for the people, more attractive. So the idea I was thinking of was to create this kind of interaction show where not just the performer has planned everything ahead, including the lighting, sound, order of song, etc. I was planning to do something that the crowd will be able to affect the performance, affect the lights, affect the order of songs, affect who's gonna play solo now, and also to mix the band inside the crowd, so the performance is not happening only on the stage itself, but also inside the crowd. So the beginning was a brand book to analyze exactly what kind of songs are we dealing with, what kind of content, which is the crowd, and what we're gonna do with it. And well, it included sort of interactions, of course, how the stage is built, and also interaction, which means even if someone goes to the bar to get a drink, he can get a ringtone with it. It's not the type of like more American way of like just selling it. It's free, and the albums are usually free to download because we're interested in people coming to our concerts instead of like getting money, because we know that the little money we have is from the performances, and obviously it is two parts are really part in the creation, which is to create a song and to perform with it. Obviously the marketing part is less interesting usually, especially for artists. So in the brand book there was like video VJ clips that we're gonna present during the show according to the content of each song. It was choreography where everyone's gonna stand, each song taking it into parts, course, who's gonna do everything in what stage. So you can see like here is like from the left is like the VJs, the choreography. We were 3 performers on the stage, but there was also a producer. We given the crowd some one-time cameras that will be able to document themselves. Obviously it included campaign merchandise, Facebook. This is some of the video clips. And eventually, there was also a song, which we called the song with the crowd, that the crowd was able to, at the beginning of the concert, the crowd was recording, each one that entered recorded some kind of loop. And then we created a song from the voices of the crowd, the voices plus videos of the crowd. And what's happening here on the ceiling is kind of an expansion of that, because I needed to present it also in the exhibition. So I needed to think on an alternative way to reverse it and change it so people in a gallery mode will be able to interact with it. The second thing was the installation itself. This is how the installation would look like. And there was a grid of faces. Some of them were prepared ahead, but people that entered the room were able to hear the music of the band, see some people, and also experience and interact themselves and record themselves and loop themselves inside the atmosphere. So every time a person entered the room, he kind of a little changed the atmosphere in the room. What you see in the behind of them is a VJ that was obviously controlled by the music, by the vocals, and by the volume in that room at the same time. So the experience kind of altered every time. Some other things I did in Israel was being a part of the interaction lab in the Holon Institute of Technology. I'll show you a small video that shows a little bit of the project we did there. We handled a lot with obviously sensors, hacking stuff, trying to alter, and the specific course I was in was a sonic interaction course, which means it dealt with a lot of sound.
Yes, y'all, and you don't stop to the beat, y'all, and you don't stop. Yes, y'all, and you don't stop. 1, 2, y'all, and you don't stop. Yes, y'all, and you don't stop until the beat Time says to be the short shot. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
The first project we're gonna see is a project called Akir, which I did with another girl named Vita. And basically it was a wall that you can play on. Basically we thought of it as kind of an MPC. You had gloves, each glove was in a different color, and different color controls different instruments. So if you have like red, for example, you're piano, and if you're blue, you're kind of drums. And our purpose was to create a wall that lots of people can alternatively touch it and play with it. Another project I want to show was a water tap, which is a sonification for a normal water tap. The sound is explaining what kind of temperature the user is experiencing. Also, there is a representation of light, but we made a research about what kind of sounds do people consider warm, what kind of sounds do people consider cold, what is the best temperature to take a shower with. And the circuit is being closed by the water and the saltancy of the water. One other project I want to show is a project I did in Goldsmith recently. Yo. This project takes the voice of a person and turn it into a 3D object that you can later on scan. So for example, I can create a grace or like tell someone I love him and give him physically the object that says I love him. He can rescan it and get the I love you from me. My purpose later on with this project, if I'll continue working on it, will be to create the whole voice, because obviously the object I created was something really rough and was created only by one sentence. But like vinyls, you can create it in a microscopic level that it can contain all the syllables, all the voice of a person. Like Kindle has, he can read whatever book you've given him. Obviously it sounds a little bit kind of robotic, but it can also be produced to a certain object, an object of sound, some kind of voice print, like a fingerprint of a person, like identity. The last thing is the installation itself. I invite you to come and try it. At night it looks a little bit better because it's kind of hard to project now, but I truly invite all of you to come and try it. Later on it's going to be darker. And that's basically it. Thank you very much.
We only employed the best people. So, anybody has any questions for Avi?
Yes.
Thank you. For the water tap,
yes,
that had the colour and the sound. What did you use to pick up the temperature? Was it like just like did you use an Arduino or some kind of?
Well, basically the software was Max MSP, but it was a temperature sensor which was connected to Arduino. And then obviously there was speakers beneath the tap, so you'll be able to hear from it. Yeah.
Was all the sound synthesized as well?
Yeah, the sound was synthesized according to temperature. So it depends, like if the water flow is hotter, it's going to be different.
Hi, thank you for a great presentation. Lovely projects. I'm curious as to how you map the sound waves to the physical objects in the printer. The project you might follow up, which I thought was fantastic.
All right. Let me show you. Okay, so in this project, I took the object of sound and I thought, okay, what kind of visualization we have for sound? We have equalizers, we have pitch, we have volume, we have waveform, and lots of others, spectrogram, and lots of others kind of ways to visualize sound. So in this project, I was experimenting and trying to find out which combination of them will be able to give you the specific percentage that will allow you to identify that specific person. So there were a lot of tries and there were a lot of trials and errors to try to realize these are like spheres, and there was like all kinds of cylinders that were affected by the sound wave. So every time I tried different parameters until I got to the parameters that it was easy later on to scan for them to reproduce the sound. Of course, it doesn't sound exactly the same like your voice, but it's a matter of progress and it's a matter of printing it in an accurate way.
What is the best temperature to take a shower in?
Yes.
Between 36 to 38.
Anyone else? Any more? Well, thank you, Avi. Thanks a lot. I think